Hey guys, it is Targon here doing another Raid Shadow Legends video, and it is that time again. Polarium has released another fusion champion. So, man, I tell you, it feels like they come so fast now, but I think it's really just been I've been doing so many fusions over the years that it's just like, oh, gotta do another one already. um, but so they're releasing a new fusion, and I want to go over and talk about this new champion, talk about reasons why you might want to give this one a pass or reasons why you might want to go for this one. I actually, so truth be told, I was originally leaning not, but I've kind of been changing my thought process on this champion a little bit, and I'll explain why. There are some things about this champion's kit that I love. There are some things about this champion's kit that I don't love that make it like you have to get the maximum usage out of her, you kind of have to pair her the right way. But it is doable. So let's go ahead and take a look at this champion, and it is Maranix. I believe I am pronouncing that right. Sometimes they throw these really weird names out there. But you know, cool looking champion, right? Like I like the little picks or whatever, and it's different look, different type of weapon, I guess. Almost looks like a dual wielding Grim Reaper assassin type of character. So, anyways, um, and I guess that actually is what they're going for, because she's got that skill Death Collector, so, or that passive is Death Collector. So I guess that's kind of what they're going for. She's like the Dark Elf Reaper or whatever. Force Affinity Attack Champion. I love that they are bringing in more Force Affinity champions. I feel like that is one affinity that has been lacking, like the Spirit, the Magic, the Voids. Obviously the Voids, but like, the Spirit and Magic champions seem to be like in right now. So bringing in more Force Affinity, I think, is going to be really, really good in terms of balancing the game a bit more. So attack-based champion, I have not looked at, any content on like the test server or anything. I don't have access to the test server. I'm guessing she's going to hit hard just based on her kit. Attack-based legendary champions, usually they will hit hard, and so hopefully she's got some really good damage multipliers out there. But let's look at her kit, because she's got a few really interesting things going on here. So we're going to start on her A1. Reaper's Due attacks one enemy 2 times, has a 50% chance to place up to 2 extra hits if the target is under a hex debuff. The chance to place each extra hit is calculated individually. So the way I understand that is it attacks twice, and then there is a 50% chance to attack another time, and then there is a 50% chance to attack yet again. So potentially a 4-hitter. Half the time it's going to be 2, half the time it's going to be 3, maybe 4. But that's an interesting A1 that's really if this A1 hits pretty hard, then that in and of itself could be really helpful as well. Especially if this might actually give her some utility for something like Clan Boss, where you run Giant Slayer on her. I'm not sure with the 50% chance if that might be worth it, or if it'd be better to go War Master, but might be an interesting option. Her A2, Excruciate, attacks all enemies, has a 100% chance when booked of placing a Hex debuff and a 60% decreased defense debuff for 2 turns. It books to a 3-turn cooldown, so obviously decreased defense is great, and she puts the Hex on, so her A1 depends on Hex, decreased defense. So again, this could be good in multiple places, but even if you wanted to use her like in a Clan Boss setup, decreased defense, you need that in Clan Boss, and if she puts the Hex on, now her A1's got that chance for the extra hits. So that would be almost use her like a Razin, where he's doing the drop defense and then has the multi-hitter. But Razin probably would actually be better in Clan Boss overall. But just a thought. So that's a cool skill. And then her A3, Inexorable End, think I pronounced that right. That's kind of a weird word. I've heard that word used a few times, but anyways. Attacks all enemies, will ignore unkillable buffs and shield buffs if the targets are under Hex. Places an unkillable buff on this champion if the attack kills an enemy without Hex. And places an unkillable buff for 2 turns instead if the attack kills an enemy under Hex. So that's pretty cool. She can get the unkillable, but really the big thing here is she ignores unkillable and she ignores shields on this if the enemies are under Hex. So she is the counter to a bolster set. So when bolster came out, honestly, I wasn't a huge fan. I didn't even realize that it was unremovable, and then I got into arena. I'm like, can't I remove the shields? And I was like, oh, and I wasn't a fan because it makes arena just that much more annoying, kind of. And I'm at the point where I've played so long, it's like, oh, really? You're going to make me do this long drawn out battle with all these shields. But so this is the counter to it. And I guess that was sort of their idea is, oh, we'll get a whole bunch of people to spend all their money on getting these bolster sets. And now, surprise, here's someone who can AoE ignore shields. But that's good. So that's going to be the counter to the bolster sets. Also a counter to someone like Leorius, counter to Skull Crown, those champions that automatically proc those annoying unkillable buffs. And then like Leorius, especially if I don't find a way to take him down, then I lose. Because he'll just one-shot me all the time, unless I've got my tanky team up there. So this is really, really a great skill for Arena. And then she has her passive, Death Collector, resets the cooldown of Inexorable End whenever this champion kills an enemy under a Hex debuff. So that's really cool because you get her to, if you get the Hex out and then you kill someone with this skill, it comes right back, which is really cool. It also increases her attack by 5% for each enemy under Hex. So this is a great combination of skills. I love her kit for the most part. However, the thing I don't love is that in order to maximize her potential, you need to have a Hex debuff out there as well. Now, as I look at her kit, I'm thinking Arena Nuker, right? She ignores shield, she ignores unkillable. I do see potential for her to be even beneficial in Hydra, just because you want to be able to target Head of Mischief. So throwing the Hex on Head of Mischief is really going to be helpful because it lets you kill and that's like my least favorite head in Hydra. So that could be good there in that she gets the Hex out and she does the decreased defense. So it's like a 2-in-1 things that you want in Hydra. The challenge there is she's going to be getting hit. So you got to make her survivable or build a team around her to keep her alive. But realistically, I think her best usage is going to be in Arena, specifically to counter bolster sets and unkillable champions. So if I'm seeing Leorius or if I'm seeing Brogni, because typically, especially Brogni is in a bolster set now, then she would be my go-to. All right. But you have to bring in a Hex because the problem is really for a nuker, you want them going first. Right now, Leorius or maybe a Skull Crown, or there's a few other nukers that are kind of geared for more of a go second team, but she doesn't. Her unkillable buff only happens if she kills someone. So if she doesn't get to go before the enemy nuker goes, she's probably going to be dead. So you're going to want her going first, and the problem is she brings decreased defense and Hex on this skill, which is great for Arena, but if I put that out there, I'm not getting another turn before the enemy goes, and I'm dead, right? So in Arena, you really kind of have to, if you're in a go first Arena team, you need to specialize where you have your nuker or you have your setup champion. You don't want to really have to set yourself up, at least not later on. Early game in Arena, she's going to be lights out, awesome. So if you're early game, mid game, I highly recommend getting her. Late game, end game, I do recommend getting her, but it is going to be a challenge because you have to set it up. So let me see if I can find a decent arena setup here. So let's take this off. I'll move myself over here. And I'm going to just go over my current arena team. Let's see. So this might actually be one of those teams I would want to use her for. So probably Brogni is going to have a bolster set, and Trunda's not the right affinity here, but let's just go ahead and see how this goes. Oh, there's no shields. Oh, well, that gives me a shot to win this. So typically in a go first setting, you're going to have your booster, which is Arbiter. She bumps everybody up. Now everybody else gets to go. The way that I've run this is I use Mashald to throw some fears out at the enemy, but also to boost Trunda's crit damage. So I really like having him available. And then he gets that extra turn. I'll try to take her out. And now I have Madame Cirrus. Now Madame Cirrus, she takes buffs off, and she puts the decreased defense and decreased attack up there. So this makes everybody more vulnerable. And now I have Trunda to clean up the mess. All right. So you could use Maranix in Trunda's place, but you would want to have somebody else to set her up. So probably if I was to go with her, what I would do is I would have Arbiter go first, and then I would have Madame Cirrus go second, because a lot of times in Arena you're having immunity sets up, right? So if you don't have someone to take the immunity off of somebody, then you're not getting your Hex out, you're not getting decreased defense out. And then, so I'd have Arbiter first, then I'd have Madame Cirrus, and then I'd have another Hex champion go. And then I would have Maranix in Trunda's place wiping the floor. So a potential really good combination. And I'll show you, because there's a number of champions with Hex. Probably, ideally, what I'm thinking, let me see, let me make sure she's, is it 100%? So Felicia okay, yeah. Oh no, it's a 50% chance to place the Hex. Darn it. So it wouldn't quite work. So you'd have to find someone, and there are other champions. And that doesn't book, right? No. So there's a few other champions that do Hex. You have I'll pull this up. There's a few others that do it, but there's not a ton that do it consistently. I mean, Felicia, it's a 50% chance if the target's under decreased defense, so I could run Madame Cirrus goes first, rips the buffs off. Felicia goes next and puts the Hex on because decreased defense is on from Madame Cirrus, and then you have Maranix go. But realistically, the only ones I think that are like putting a 100% Hex would be like Ruel would probably be your best, would be your best option. And the reason I say Ruel is he just places it. He simply places the Hex on everybody. So I'd have Madame Cirrus going first. She takes any immunities off, and then I would have Ruel go. He puts the Hex on, and then I would have Maranix go and nuke everybody. Okay, that is my thought for a composition. The question then becomes, are you getting more out of ignoring the shield than you would be with running a team like I used with Mashald? Where I'm boosting, crit damage. Probably, I mean, especially if it's on Brogni where it's reflecting back, I probably would want to be able to ignore the shield. It's a little bit circumstantial. So really, I think this champion's kind of the place where I would use this champion is specifically Arena, where there's bolster sets involved, and I'm trying to ignore the shield. That is where I will use this champion the most. Might have some utility in Hydra. potentially there's some other areas where I might be able to find use for it, but really it's going to be arena, bolster set, counter. So in that regard, I think she's going to be great for that role, but it is going to be a little bit tricky setting her up. So the question then becomes, do I want to spend all this time and all these resources chasing a fusion for a champion that I'm going to, and again, this is for where I am, where I'm pushing towards end game, is do I want to spend all my resources for this one champion that's going to be kind of like circumstantial usage at best? Or do I want to spend my resources farming gear, farming masteries for the other champions that I have? Because honestly, I have so many champions that I haven't built. I have Cupidus and they just buffed him, and I haven't really done anything with him yet. He's kind of next on my build list. I got Ragash from the summon event, and I still need to build him. I've got fusion champions that I haven't built yet either, like I need to finish running masteries for Neri and for Versolf. Let's see. Gaius, I haven't really done much in terms of masteries on Gaius yet either. Same with Necmo, Rorik, and Pardon, I haven't taken to 60 yet. I haven't taken Ruel to 60 yet either. Just got Oko. I'll get to him when I get to him. But so the problem is there's so many champions that you need to build, and you want to, and building is, you're farming masteries, you're farming gear, and I'm at that point where I'm just looking for like 6-star pieces of Savage, Regen, and a few other choice sets for my champions at this point. So that means a lot of gear farming just to get a few pieces of gear. I won the Fire Knight tournament, and there's like one piece of gear that I got from the whole thing that I'm like, yes. So there's a lot of energy that you need to spend to maximize your champions, and sometimes it is better to skip a fusion so you can maximize your other champions. Is this champion going to be worth it specifically for that countermeasure to the bolster set? Probably. Is the champion worth it if you're early game or mid game? Yeah, I'd say probably so. If you don't have another nuker, definitely I'd consider going for it. As for me, I am still a little bit on the fence just because there's so many other champions that I have to build. Do I want this champion? Yes. Do I want to spend hours and hours and hours and thousands of energy just to get this champion? No, not really. So that's where I am on it. Please let me know what you think. If there's other places that you're thinking this champion could actually be really helpful besides that bolster set, counter, and arena, let me know. If you're going for this champion, let me know in the comments. If you're thinking, nope, this is a hard pass, let me know. I'm kind of at the point where my main focus is I want to improve my ability to quickly and efficiently get through Doom Tower hard, and improve my ability to quickly and efficiently go through the Iron Twins, and also to improve my Hydra runs. That's what I'm looking for the most. And really for those types of things, you need more like defensive champions that are going to help your team survive. And an attack-based champion isn't necessarily going to be the best suited for a lot of that. So anyways, let me know what you think. I'm still on the fence. I'll let you know if I decide to go for it or not. I'm also going to be going on vacation at the end of the month, so I'm not sure if I'll even have time to do the last events. So, let me know what you think. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you next time.